welcome to today's Pet Pawcast. I'm your host, Dr. Roberta Westbrook, and you're here with us at the Campus for All Animals, the Houston SPCA. And today, we are going to talk about fall and how to transition your pet into the new season. And if you have any questions about things that you could or should be doing to help your pet transition from summer to fall, please let us know, and hopefully I can help answer some of those questions today. But for now, I want to introduce you to our pet of the week this week, and her name is Normandy. Normandy is approximately 6-month-old female spayed hound mix, and she's very sweet. She's going to make a wonderful family pet. She seems like she has the right balance of just calm, cool energy and the ability to be a great family pet. So come on down and visit Normandy and all the other dogs and cats and puppies and kittens that we have available for adoption. Remember, we're open every day from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and our adoption counselors would love to help you find the pet that's perfect for you and your family.
What signs indicate that it's time to adjust a pet's routine as summer ends?
You know, as we transition to a new season from summer to fall, our lives change as well. So we go from being home most days and spending lots of time with our pets to now maybe transitioning back to kids going to school, and even the daylight hours are shorter. So there's a lot of changes that we make, and we may adjust our routine. In the same way, we just have to make sure that our pets are on a routine. And so if you are someone who was playing with your pet most of the days during the summer, you may want to try to come up with ways to keep your pet busy during the fall. If kids were home with your pet and you were home all day, well, now the kids are going back to school and your pet may start to become bored. So you can do things like getting new toys, trying new toys for your pet that might keep your pet very interested and entertained while there are less people around. You may want to go on a nice early morning walk. That way your pet can get some of their energy out at the beginning of the day. And you may want to consider adjusting their routine, their feeding routine and sleeping routine, along with the daylight and nighttime hours that have shifted a little bit as well.
Are there specific grooming needs for a pet during the fall?
Sometimes there are specific grooming needs for pets during the fall, but not for every pet. So if you have a thin coated dog, for example, a dog with very short fur, they may have felt really good in the summer months. But now that it's getting cooler, you may notice that especially small dogs that have very little fat and very little thick hair coat, that they could become a little bit more chilly in the fall and winter months. So in those cases, if you're going out in the early morning hours or evening hours, they could maybe benefit from a nice t-shirt or a little sweater fitted for them that might help keep them a little bit warmer as the days get cooler.
What are some seasonal allergies that pets might experience in the fall?
You know, certainly pets can have allergies, and we tend to see an increase in allergies usually in the spring and summer, and sometimes as the weather gets cooler, allergies can subside a bit because the cooler weather helps to cool their body off, and they may have less reactions to allergens outdoors. But some pets have allergies year-round. And so if your pet is one that has allergies to grasses, trees, and molds, especially if they're flaring up in the fall, this might be something that you want to visit your family veterinarian for, so that you can make sure that you have all of your updated medications for allergies. And if this is something new, that maybe your veterinarian can help you determine what your pet may be allergic to and start the proper therapy. Remember, there are also ways that you can protect your pet's paws from those allergens by putting on booties or socks when they're going out for runs or for walks.
Are there any specific indoor activities that can keep pets engaged during the fall?
Absolutely. So lots of fall activities. So if you were staying indoors mostly during the summer because maybe it was too hot, well, now it's a little bit cooler and you may actually want to be outdoors more during the fall than you were during the summer. And if that is true for your family, then certainly going to parks, going on walks, going on hikes if you have dogs that like to do that, these would be wonderful activities. Playing with them with their new toys are fun activities to do during the fall as well. And this is also time for sports. So if your children are having outdoor sports, this could be an opportunity for you to take the dog out with you and enjoy some family sports time.
What are the risks associated with fall holiday foods such as Thanksgiving and Halloween?
Yes, there's lots of great food during the fall, but we want to make sure that as we're enjoying a lot of this delicious food that we keep our pets safe. So one common food around fall is pumpkin. Well, pumpkin can actually be healthy for your pets if given in small amounts. It can help to regulate their digestive system and even help if they have diarrhea or if they have constipation. So pumpkin can be a nice treat given to your dog if they are, if you want to provide a nice fall treat for them. But you want to be careful about providing a lot of fatty foods. So turkey that has a lot of seasoning on it, or fat or grease, or chocolate, candy, and other types of foods that could be toxic to your pet. Please be aware that some of these foods like chocolate and sugar-free candy may not be the best thing to give your pet. So make sure that you're sticking to healthy treats like vegetables. You can offer your pet green beans, you can offer your pet broccoli, asparagus, and apples, as long as it doesn't include the core where the apple seeds are.
What are some tips for managing joint health and arthritis in older pets during cooler months?
You know, sometimes when it gets cooler, even we may notice that our joints become a little bit more stiff and more painful. And we can notice the same thing in our pets as well as they age and they develop arthritis. Their joints may be a little bit more stiff in the cold months. We typically notice this early in the morning when our pets are rising from being in a sleeping state for several hours at a time. So in the morning, they may rise and it may take them a little bit of time before their joints get loose. You might notice a stiff gait, and you may notice that they're not really active in the morning. Typically, as the day goes on, they tend to loosen up and feel a little bit better. During this time, it's going to be important that you talk to your family veterinarian about proper medication to help keep the joints healthy. Sometimes this includes things like chondroitin and glucosamine for joint health, and it can also include some anti-inflammatories. So speak to your family veterinarian about what may be best for your pet to keep them healthy and happy as the weather gets a little bit cooler.
Outside of candy ingestion, what precautions should pet owners take during Halloween to keep pets safe?
There's all kinds of excitement going on during Halloween, so making sure that your pets avoid eating candy that may be lying around the house. There's also lots of decorations. You may have candles, you may have carved pumpkins. There are lots of accessories from Halloween costumes that might be lying around the house. So making sure that you just protect your pet's living space and the area around your home to pick up any loose items that they could possibly ingest. So just make sure that there's not any pieces of costume, string, or anything that your cat could ingest, candy, and other potentially toxic substances. So you just want to be aware and make sure that your home is picked up and there are no substances lying around that your pets could get into.
Moving into the winter pet care, what should pet owners consider when planning winter vacations or trips away from home?
Well, if you are planning a winter vacation or a trip away from home for this fall, consider whether or not it's a good idea to take your pet with you. This might be a great time for you to, if it's a short trip, for you to consider taking your pet with you. Make sure that you plan ahead, contact your lodging facility and make sure that pets are welcome in that area. But this would be a good time to consider taking your pet with you on a nice short vacation. If you think that your pet may be better at home because perhaps traveling makes them anxious or they're just not a good traveler, then you can also contact a local pet sitter. Sometimes they will come to your home and they will take care of your pet in your home. They will take your pet for walks and do feeding and playtime with your pet. Or you can also consider a boarding facility where you take your pet to a boarding facility where they have the ability to play with other dogs or cats if it's a cat boarding facility, and they can take care of your pet while you're away. But just prepare, knowing if you're traveling with your pet, make sure you're taking all of their medication, food, and medication, as well as their medical records. Make sure that you have the microchip information up to date so that if your pet gets lost on the trip, that you can get reunited with your pet as soon as possible.
What are some risks for leaving your pets outside during the cold weather?
You know, as the weather gets cool, in Texas it doesn't get extremely cold, but in lots of places it does. And it's too cold for your pets to be outside for extended periods without proper housing and proper protection from the extreme temperatures. So when pets are left outside during the cold, they can succumb to hypothermia. They can have injuries to their paws and extremities due to the cold. And so you want to make sure that your pets are not outdoors for a long period of time in extreme weather. There are certainly sweaters, jackets, booties, and socks that you can put on your pets while they're outdoors. But always, if your pet is outdoors and they're going to be outdoors for an extended period of time, make sure they have proper shelter. They're going to need a dog house, and they're going to need proper food and water while they're while they're outside in the elements.
How can pet owners prepare for potential winter emergencies like power outages?
You know, power outages certainly can happen due to extreme temperatures like extreme cold. And this is good for us and for our pets to always be prepared for things like that. That means make sure that you have a stockpile of food, of dry kibble that maybe doesn't need to be refrigerated. If you're feeding your pet sort of canned food or fresh food, you always want to make sure that you have some kibble that's going to be able to be stored for a long period of time that does not need to be refrigerated. You want to make sure that you have water, maybe bottled water, so that your pet always has fresh water. And you want to make sure that you have kind of a get ready to go bag. That way, in case you need to evacuate your home or leave your home due to the power outages for an extended period of time, that you have a go bag ready that includes a nice comfortable bed for your pet, some toys, maybe a first aid kit, and all of those important items that I mentioned before, like their medication and their leash, collar, and make sure their microchip and vaccines are current and up to date.
How do you celebrate the holidays with your pets? Do you have any traditions that you carry on?
You know, I always include my dog in holiday traditions. My dog is not only a part of my family, but my extended family too. They think of her as my child, and so we include her in all of the festivities. She's sitting around the Christmas tree, watching TV with us, laughing, joking, and having a great time. So just having your pets with you during the holidays is important. They feel that love. They want to be around you and your family during the holidays. And so just including them and making them feel loved is always a great thing.
How can pet owners protect their pets from common fall pests like fleas and ticks?
Well, I do hear this myth a lot that people do not provide flea and tick medication to their pets during the fall and winter months because fleas and ticks don't exist during these colder months. But they are still present, particularly in warmer climates like we have here in Houston, Texas. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your pet on flea and tick prevention year round. You don't want your pet to get a flea infestation, as fleas not only cause itching and discomfort, but can also transmit intestinal parasites. Ticks are also dangerous in the way that they not only will feed on your pet's blood, but they can also transmit tick-borne diseases such as Lyme disease. So always keep your pets on flea and tick prevention, and even more importantly, heartworm prevention. Mosquitoes are still present even in the cooler months, and heartworm disease can be something that can be transmitted to your pets. So contact your family veterinarian, make sure you have an adequate supply of medication to protect your pet from these conditions during the fall and winter months.
New Year's Day is one of the holidays in the winter months. How can pet owners help their pets adjust to the sound of fireworks?
Yes, fireworks. It's going to be that time. In another couple of months, we're all going to be bringing in the new year. And fireworks are a big part of that celebration. It's important to plan early. And what that means is, if you think or know that your pet has anxiety to loud noises, if you've seen any sign of this, you may want to consider having a prescription medication available to help keep your pet calm during the fireworks. You may also consider, if you're staying indoors, to keep your pet with you, keep them indoors, have the TV or music playing at a moderate level to kind of drown out the sound of the fireworks that may be going on outside. Keeping your pet distracted with food and treats and toys that enrich their minds can also prevent them from focusing on the loud noise of the fireworks outdoors. If you need assistance with knowing whether or not your pet needs medication to help with anxiety during fireworks, please contact your family veterinarian.
Are there any types of supplements or vitamins that might benefit pets during the winter seasons?
You know, sometimes during the winter seasons, your pet's appetite can change. Sometimes the amount of food that they eat may increase. And for some pets, they actually become a little bit more depressed and may eat less. And so it just depends on your pet's personality. If your pet is eating less, you always want to make sure that you have a balanced diet available for your pet so that they get the proper nutrients. And you can talk to your family veterinarian about other supplements that might be necessary for your pet if they're not eating well during those cooler months. But if they're eating well, as long as you're feeding a nice balanced diet, then your pet should be fine during the winter months and no additional supplements may be necessary.
How can pet owners maintain their pets' exercise levels when it's too cold outside?
So playing indoors can always be a fun activity. So if it's too cold outside and you can't go on long walks, maybe it's snowing, then you can certainly find ways to keep your pet busy indoors. So getting food puzzles can help, because food puzzles are ways that you can feed your pet in a creative way and it can keep their mind enriched. And it's something to keep them new and engaged instead of just putting their food straight in a bowl.
What are some tips for, hopefully being in Texas that some snow might come, but what are some tips for introducing pets to snow for the first time?
Yes, that's always exciting. Certainly, especially in South Texas, we don't see snow super often. But in the event that we have a wonderful white Christmas this year and it's new to your pet to be able to be in the snow, then you just want to give them a slow introduction. So taking them out again with a harness or collar and leash so that you have control over them is going to be ideal. You also want to make sure that you put maybe some booties or special dog socks or boots on their paws so that their paws do not get damaged from the extreme cold. So those would be things that you want to do. And then take your pet out slowly, give them slow amounts of time outdoors, maybe 5 or 10 minutes at a time to see how they react. And then you can take them out for longer periods of time if they seem to like it. If your grass is covered by the snow, your pet may have trouble determining where they should eliminate. So it may be a good idea before you bring your pet out to clear a path so that they can go out onto the grass, eliminate appropriately, and not be confused by the snow. Well, we thank you so much for joining us today on the Pet Pawcast, and we hope that we'll see you here on our campus to look at and spend time with us and all the animals that we have available for adoption. Thank you so much for supporting us and joining our podcast each week. I'm your host, Dr. Roberta Westbrook, and we will see you next week here on the Pet Pawcast.